Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It's your Wednesday night uncensored, unfiltered, and unafraid sports show. You still up? This episode of Buffalo After Dark starts now. Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, October 19th, and of course, we are back from Kansas City. We'll talk about that trip later on, but Bob, it's nice to be back here in our little studio, and then it looks like we'll have Adam and Julian joining us a little bit later. How's it going?
Good. I'm still recovering from the trip. Obviously, it ended yesterday morning when we left from the Kansas City International Airport. We had to say our goodbyes personally. And then after that, I kind of just, lied down and basically said, all right, I had a long trip and I'm just going to hang out for the rest of the evening. And then I went back to work the next day and just still getting used to the environment again. But my voice for Sunday is kind of cracking up a little bit. It's I can't go in a high pitch. So I can't really scream that well, if you get what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But I can still talk normal though.
Nice. And it's kind of like the same situation here too, where just coming back, voice is still a little screwed up, but it's nice to be home. Got my oil done this morning in my car, and actually ran around to a couple places today, so everything was good. But the flights home were totally fine. Although getting into Chicago, though, I only had about 20 minutes to get my connecting flight, so it was crunch time with that. But no, I made it home with no problem. Adam, how's it going, man?
Hey, fellas.
Hey. Oh, there he is.
And guess what? We're going to talk hockey first tonight. So,
what's up, Vince?
You're muted.
I think he is muted. Whoa, holy hell.
Right.
Yeah, he's muted.
All right. Well, do you, Adam, there you go. How's it going?
Oh, sorry. I had a phone call.
Fucking terrible, which he's not wrong about. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, that hat is fucking terrible. Take that the fuck off.
Yeah, there you go. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But what we want to do, of course, glad to have you here also. We're going to talk some hockey first. So if anyone wants to jump on and chat with us, of course, we've got the Facebook chat going tonight. But you can give us a call live, 929-205-6099, or, of course, join us on our Facebook page. And we've got the QR code up on the screen for anyone that's watching the graphics. So that's where we're at. But Sabres, they're 2-1. They end up getting a good win against the Edmonton Oilers last night, and I just want to talk about that real quick. So, of course, Eric Comrie, he looked good between the pipes with 45 saves last night.
He did. He absolutely did. And Adam's boy, Ilya Lyubushkin, laid out a nasty hit on Dylan Callaway and most likely gave him a concussion. And he got penalized for it, and he just kind of moved on and said, all right, that's it. And he has a minor injury, and he's out day to day, so he shouldn't be out for too long, per se. But outside of that, Sabres played a good all-around game.
All right, yeah. First off, I'll say, take, for the love of God, take that fucking hat off.
The cowboy hat.
And secondly, I'll say, Lyubushkin is not my boy, never has been. And thirdly, 45 saves in a game. Good luck trying to keep that up.
Well, right. He did do it against McDavid and Draisaitl, arguably the two best players in the league.
All you got to do is contain them. Once you contain them, they got nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what they did last night. And just to kind of give an idea of just a quick scoring recap. So, of course, Rasmus Dahlin gets his third of the season. He opened it up with 4 minutes into the first. Gets his assist from Middlestat. Then Darnell Nurse ties it up, 4:23 in the first from Draisaitl and Ceci. Then the second period, Tage Thompson assisted by Skinner at 44 seconds. And then Peterka gets his second goal of the season from Hennis Rosa at 5:15. Then in the third period, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins assisted by McDavid at 18:27. And then Alex Tuch with the empty netter from Cousins at 19:55. So that's
empty netter should be kind of goals and assists.
Right. But all in all, it was a good way to open up that road trip, and then they're going to be up against the Calgary Flames coming up.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good game. Now, before I comment, I should tell everybody in advance that if I start to lag out in the video, it's because I've had some really shitty situations with my Wi-Fi lately. So please excuse that. I apologize in advance. So
it's
just want to
probably
put that out there now.
it's probably just your fucking hat.
Well, fuck you, because I got this hat yesterday when we were in Kansas City.
Well, you should have left it there.
Well, it's awesome. Okay. And it goes with my theme that's going on in the back.
Oh,
Yeah.
look, your autumn theme. Oh
Yeah.
Lord, no, that's like Brokeback Mountain. It makes sense, I guess.
Right.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, did you buy that hat in that Bass Pro Shops we were in the other day?
Yeah,
was
I
it-
did actually, which is funny you said
We'll start calling you Crocodile fucking Dun Bobby.
that. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a cool.
Yeah, there goes your
Oh,
internet
there you
again.
go.
Yeah.
Cool looking hat. I mean, it's got beads all around it. Yeah.
Right.
So, bottom line, I love this hat though. I mean, I wouldn't trade it in for anything.
I need to do something for me, Bobby, please. I need to grab a butter knife and go, that's not a knife.
Oh man. But I gotta say though, it is nice that hockey season is finally back to go along with our football.
Hell yeah.
Now you know what? Both my teams are sucking ass, so I don't care at this point.
Right. I was gonna say I haven't really heard too much about the Maple Leafs as of yet this season, but like, what's been going on with that?
I don't. You know what? I'll say it like it is. That my honest opinion of what happened the other night was never in a million years should the Leafs be trailing the fucking Yotes. The last team in the fucking league to be trailing it. But that fucking call, that
What
call,
the fuck happened then?
what they made was one of the stupidest calls I've ever seen. That was unreal. I can't believe they called the goal back, even when the linesman didn't call a hand pass. The play was never blown dead. There was no stoppage on the play, but all of a sudden when he challenged it and went to the war room, and then it was no goal. That should not have happened at all.
It's like they rigged it.
It is not. It's dude. That is the stupidest thing. If the linesman didn't make the hand pass call on the ice and didn't blow it dead, it shouldn't have mattered what the war room said, because that would have been the call on the ice.
Right. Which makes sense in that chart. You know what I mean? Like, I still can't get over the fact that the Leafs just lost to Arizona again. And I think I read a stat the other day that said the Yotes have never let out at least a single point in the last 20 years since they played the Toronto Maple Leafs.
No, it's the same thing with when we play the Sabres. We can't beat you guys either, which is unreal. So I don't know. They don't show up to play fucking bottom feed teams. They fucking show up to play the top tier teams, and then they win. But it makes no sense. They lose so many points in a season that they could have over bottom feeding teams.
Mm-hmm. Right. And usually when you hit those bottom feeding teams, especially if you're in that top group, I mean, that should be an easy 2 points.
Yeah, it should be gimmies. It should be gimme games.
Right. Right. And that's like one of those things I've kind of noticed with them also. It's like same thing, or even to an extent with the Sabres the last few seasons, where, I mean, games that we should have won, we didn't. Games that we were predicted not to win, we actually did. And it's like, I totally don't get the whole logic of it.
No, they show up to play at the wrong time. That's what the Leafs are famous for. And then like today, like this morning, I'm reading an article on fucking one of the Leafs fan pages I'm on, and the fans are already calling for Keith to be fired. 4 games in, you're calling for Keith to be fired. You know why? Because he called out his fucking stars and said, you know what, this is unacceptable, and you guys need to step the fuck up.
Right. Well, Keith should be calling out his starters and telling them to step up. I mean, there's no reason he shouldn't be. So, I mean, for the fact that they want him.
Matthews is got his ass reamed because there was one play in the fucking game where he looked like he was pulling like a fucking Nylander and just skating back. He wasn't even skating back. He was just striding back. And then Keith, I'm on the replay, you could see Keith give him a fucking earful, and he didn't like it. And then the fans seen that, and they're like, "Oh, fire Keith, fire Keith."
Oh, he's actually a good coach.
Fucking-
I mean, there's no reason to fire him, at least at this point.
He's a great coach, but even your stars have to be called out sometimes. That most times that helps.
Right.
And like you might be a star, but you're not fucking invincible, and you make mistakes, and that's okay. But you need to fucking pick up your game.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I mean, there's times. I mean, it would even be like, here's another comparable. If Connor McDavid were playing like crap and he needs to be called out, then he needs to be called out. Doesn't matter if he's one of the absolute best in the world.
Well, the only thing is,
you call him out.
well, to be fair though, Tom, McDavid is one of the best athletes in the world, if not the best hockey player in the world right now. So that will never happen. But I think he understands that when things get into, adversity, that's where I think, things have to come into a turn with Toronto, with Austin Matthews and the other guys they have. You're paying 4 guys over $11 million to put pucks in the net, and none of them have done shit about it. And it's even worse now because the Leafs now have to be stuck in limbo with an injury-prone starter who's now out long-term injury reserved, I think with a groin injury with Matt Murray, and now you have to rely on Ilya Samsonov, who barely worked out in Washington, and now you have to rely on him to carry the Maple Leafs.
I don't think he's that bad, dude. He's still young. He still has promise. And for the money that the Leafs got him for, I really don't think, even if he won half his games this season, they already paid off. So I don't think he's going to be that bad. And we have other options besides him. So
no, I mean, I'm not saying that Samsonov is bad. I never said that. I just don't believe in him as a starter, especially with someone going down like Murray, who has the experience.
I'd rather not. You know what? I'd rather him start over Murray any day. Any day. Murray is not. He's not what he used to be, dude. Yeah, the first game I watched him play, the first game of the season, I've never seen a goalie so bad but rebound control in my fucking life. And on 40-foot shots, he couldn't hold a rebound,
which is pathetic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amateur, dude. As amateur for a goalie for his caliber, supposedly, you don't let out fucking rebounds on 40-foot fucking shots.
Right.
Don't.
He was worse than getting to Barkov in his earlier or 10 years ago in his later years with the Islanders.
Oh, there you go again.
Yeah.
He had a really bad rebound control, and he had to base ground. And the Barkov used to be horrendous with that with the Islanders. And then everybody said after a while, Nabby, you're a future Hall of Famer, but you're terrible with controlling the puck and the rebound. So you have to fix that.
Because if you can't control the puck, all they're going to do every time they get a rush on you, they're going to flick it on you and hope for a fucking rebound and then put it in the net. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's hockey 101.
And once they know your fucking weakness, then they'll take it, right? So it's
exactly. Every team will exploit it.
He looked bad. Like, he didn't look bad, but he didn't look that great. He looked like he was shaky, and I didn't like the way he played. So
right.
I don't know. I can't see him starting 30 plus games this year. I can't see it. So
no, I hear you.
This is the guy you replaced to replace Jack Campbell with. So
well, look at Jack Campbell. He ain't doing no fucking pretty either. So
it's embarrassing, really, when you have to think about
it. Yeah.
Oh, he was good where he was at, dude. He was good where he was at, and he got greedy and wanted to fight.
Yeah, go ahead, Bobby. Oh, your internet cut out again. But
my internet sucks right now.
Yeah, but let's recap some scores real quick too, and then we have some real-time action here. So right now, the games that we had on the 18th, so the Devils ended up beating Anaheim 4-2. Ottawa beat Boston 7-5. The Blue Jackets got the win over Vancouver in overtime 4-3. And then, of course, the Flyers ended up beating the Lightning 3-2, which I'm not super surprised that the Lightning are starting out the way they are. Islanders end up getting the win against the Sharks 5-2, and then of course Calgary ends up beating the Golden Knights 3-2, and Nashville loses to the Kings 4-3. And then for game time going on right now, currently near the end of the first, Florida is up on the Flyers 2-1, and it's a tie game at 0 apiece for Colorado versus Winnipeg, with Seattle and St. Louis coming up at 10 o'clock Eastern time. So only 3 games tonight.
Yeah, no, not really much going on tonight. Tomorrow night is supposed to pick back up again.
Yeah, but the Lightning, they got some work to do. I mean, Vegas, I'm actually glad they lost. So just for the sheer fact that Eichel's like totally destroying them.
Well, Vegas is cancerous on its own.
They've seen their day. They're past their prime. They're the Penguins of fucking the NHL right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that, only because I feel like Vegas had a really shitty year last year with all the injuries, and then Eichel coming back 4 months later. I mean, even now you can make the same argument, but at least Vegas is making the best of it for what it is with 2 backup starters.
Yeah, well, and dude, I think a team to watch this year is going to be Dallas is going to be hard to beat. Every time I say it, someone's like, "Oh no, they'll do the same thing every year." But no, if you watch some of the last 3 games, they're 3-0, by the way. They're fucking pretty dominant when they play.
Mm-hmm. Right. They've been getting back to the basics, and they've actually been executing pretty well, especially their own zone, which is a big plus for them. So, I mean, that's a big key. And then even watching a little bit of the Sabres last couple games that they've been on, one of the big things I've noticed is that they've been doing the little things pretty well. And plus, this group has grown up together now, so now they're learning how to win, and they learned how to grind it out in that third period, especially when it started getting towards the end there, when Edmonton started putting that push on to bring it up to being 2-2 and then within 3-2. So, I mean, defensively they look pretty good, but I love the speed that they've got on the offensive side of the puck.
And one player I'm impressed with. Well, he's gonna be a stud, but he's starting to get in the stud form is Dahlin. And mm-hmm. I said it before and I'll say it again. He's got a lot of talent. He still makes little mistakes, but he's still young. So, but right. His ability the way he back skates and the way he has that that defenseman's sight to see passes you don't see. And that's a big plus, right? So he's only going to get better. So
yeah, and he's been growing a lot, which is nice. And he's like really kind of coming into his own as a defenseman as of late. So I mean, and that's one of those things we've all seen over the years where defensemen take more time to develop. But Dahlin's really got some nice things going on to his game, and it's just those little improvements he makes game in, game out, that he just continues to get better and better. So, I mean, he's absolutely that number one.
Without a doubt. And I think, too, I read a stat the other day that said Dahlin is the only defenseman in Sabres history to apparently scored 3 goals in his first 3 games in the start of a season. And I think he's second among defensemen. I think behind Victor Hedman, if I remember reading that correctly, in that statistic. So Dahlin is putting up numbers by himself, which is impressive on its own. And I mean, he's been good for a while, but just not with the right coach, of course, with Housley and Kruger clearly.
Mm-hmm. And there goes his out.
With Granado, you could clearly. Yeah, did you guys hear me?
Yeah, you cut out a little bit, but yeah.
I know I have shit on internet. There's a whole explanation behind it, and I apologize in advance. But
yeah, so I think too that he kind of reminds me of the way Lidstrom played. He's a smart passer. He doesn't cop at the puck. He never. I don't know if you ever watched him. Like he never really gives up a center ice pass. He never cross creases pass. He always looks for a way out before he fucking cops the puck. So he reminds me of a Nick Lidstrom kind of player. Needs to put on a little bit of weight though.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'm glad you brought that up, because he lets the play come to him. He's not trying to force something to happen like right at that moment. He has that vision. He can actually let it develop, he basically sees what's going to happen, and he can kind of anticipate from there what he's going to do. And he just makes a smart play. I mean, he doesn't really botch a play that often in that zone. He just doesn't. So he lets it come to him, and then he can act off of it, which is a good thing. I mean, we've seen defensemen like over the years that'll try to force something to happen, and then you get that turnover, especially either in the neutral zone or you get it in the opposite end. You don't want that.
The one thing I fucking hate when a defenseman does it, and I'll name one player because he does it all the fucking time, is Josh Hull. He fucking passes that fucking puck center across the crease all the fucking time, and I guarantee you 60% of the time it's going to get picked because you're going to be looking for it every time. And the one thing I notice with Dahlin is that if he doesn't see a play developing that he can make a pass, not risk giving up the puck in the center of the ice, he's going back behind the net and he's using his legs. He's got great speed, so it's good for a young defenseman to have the hockey sense, and he's definitely got good hockey sense. So
yeah, 100% agree with that. And then once Lyubushkin comes back, I mean, he's only going to be day to day for right now, which is good. But I mean, he's been a difference maker so far, and he's been laying some big hits. I mean, especially Darnell Nurse last night. He ended up destroying him against the boards, so that was great to see. And he started a little scrum. So hey, I'll take it. Like a little fisticuffs early in the season.
I mean, Owen Power is kind of coming into his own as well. I mean, it's going to take a while longer for him to develop, but he's turning into a really nice, solid top 2 defenseman on the Buffalo Sabres.
Mm-hmm.
I will point out too that Okposo, or I never pronounce his name right, but he's a good leader. I think he's doing a great job.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And Okposo definitely deserved a seat, so I'm glad that happened, and then of course Dahlin being one of the assistant captains. Yep.
I'm just glad they didn't give it to Skinner.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not that I don't.
Okay,
Bobby. With Skinner not being the captain, I don't think he would be able to handle it. I don't mind him though. Yeah, did you guys pick up on that?
Yeah, we got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just want to be sure because in case you got cut off, what I said was I think Skinner could have gotten the A, but then again, it's all right with what he's got right now. As long as he just puts up the points and as long as he plays his game the way he should be with the contract he got a few years ago, then I don't really have a problem with it. But I think he'll at some point get back into scoring, 25, 30 plus goals. It's a possibility with what the Sabres are building up right now. I mean, if he could do it with Jack Eichel and scored 30 without him, I think he'll be fine on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of players that I think look pretty good on the Leafs, Melgen. He's a pleasant little surprise. I must say, I like the way he's playing.
Yeah, I saw some clips of him the other day. He's actually looking pretty, solid.
And same with what's his name too? That came from Nashville, Yagnock or whatever the fuck his name is. I can't pronounce his fucking name either. Yarnock? I don't know what his fucking name is. You know what I'm talking about? The guy we got from Nashville.
Yeah, I do.
He doesn't look too shabby either, but Melgen is the one that stands out to me.
Well, let's see how he develops. I mean, he's only so young. You got to take it with a grain of salt. Some players do better than others over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then before we wrap up the segment, since we're already at the half-hour point, what would you say are some of the biggest surprises in the NHL so far between you guys?
My biggest surprise is the Vancouver Canucks cannot hold on to a lead for shit.
Dude, their defense is terrible. Terrible.
I don't understand that.
Their defense is straight ass.
That's what I don't understand. How did the Canucks, I think they're the first team ever in the NHL history ever.
Oh, there you go again.
Mm-hmm.
To have a 3-goal lead and then blow it. Blow leads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that, well, another surprise for me would be, oh, geez, I'm gonna have to say, I already brought up Dallas, but Vegas isn't looking too shabby for having what they have.
Yeah, Vegas. I agree with you. Vancouver is my surprise with how horrible they are.
Yeah, I expected a better. Not like the offense isn't producing, but yeah, got to take a page of the lease book. I guess we're losing leads.
Yeah.
Well, I also would throw in the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, that's another one. Yep.
Yeah, I think they're them and the Canucks. I don't know who's going to be shittier because I think they're both 0-5 on their record book right now. Vancouver, I think, just sucks dick because of the fact that they were up 3 points a game or 3 goals a game.
They blow it.
I don't know, but Demko's not looking too shit.
And then they later blow it
either. So
right. Exactly. And then one of the other things that'll be interesting to see, and then we'll jump into football in the second half. But the Montreal Canadiens, it'll be interesting to see what Marty St. Louis does with that team this year.
they don't, dude. I'm gonna tell you now. I don't count them out for the wild card spot. I don't count them out because I'm telling you, they don't look too fucking bad.
We'll see how they do this. I feel like the Canadians I think they were better with Carey Price. I'm not too keen on Jake Allen.
Of course, they're better with Carey Price, but
Yeah, Carey Price is an all-world goaltender.
That ship has already sailed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing. That's my point. Because without Carey Price, the Canadians, I feel like, have almost legitimately no shot to make the playoffs this year, unless they somehow get like another Patrick Waugh. Then I don't see the Canadians going back.
I've said it for years. The only reason the Canadians were relevant for how many years was solely because of Carey Price. That's it.
Price bailed them out. That's the way it was. So, but with that being said,
even that 1 year they made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah, it's all Carey Price.
Other than that, by the way, Bobby, I just thought of something, and I have to say it. You look like Woody Harrelson with that hat on.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
You look like Woody Harrelson exactly in the fucking movie. What the fuck's it called?
Zombieland.
The Zombieland movie. Yeah.
That's a good comparison.
You know what? I'll take that as a compliment because I do like Woody Harrelson.
There you go. Oh man. Well, what we'll do coming up in the second half, we're going to talk about the Bills Chiefs game. We'll also talk about the Kansas City tailgate experience since we were there for it. So stay here. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It's your Wednesday night uncensored, unfiltered, and unafraid sports show.
You could be apologized for that hat.
No, fuck you. I like this hat. It's my head too.
You still look? This episode of Buffalo After Dark starts now.
Well, welcome back to Buffalo After Dark. So we are in the second half of the show, and it is going to be football the rest of the way. So, of course, got Luffy with us here. It's nice to have him on for the full show this time around. And, of course, if you guys want to jump on, 929-205-6099 will get you on the air. Julian may be joining us a little bit later. I know he usually records his show, Mafia Talk, tonight. But we'll jump right into it. And we were there to see it. The Bills ended up taking down the Chiefs 24-20 at Arrowhead, and now have sole possession of first in the AFC.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad that the game turned out that way because of the fact that pretty much the winner of that game was guaranteed home field in the playoffs. And I think they played a great second half. You know, defense shut them down. They brought in Von Miller for the reasoning of is to shut down Patrick Mahomes, and they finally got through and they picked them off, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, it was a tale of two defenses. And joining us from our sister page, Mafia Talk, we got Julian here.
How we doing, fellas, man? How we doing tonight, man? How we doing this week? I know we're feeling great.
Doing good. So we're fresh back from Arrowhead. So we're actually just kicking off the Bill segment here. So, of course, 24-20, number one in the AFC. The big play that everybody's talking about, and I got to throw this out there, Josh Allen hurdles another defender. This time it was Reed.
I've never seen a guy that big that can jump that high. It's unreal.
That guy is not human. I'm sorry. He is not human.
He's undercover. He's like a Marvel character. He's not telling anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, it all started with Anthony Barr. Then, of course, it went from there. But even funnier, and this is actually one of the things you'll show later on when we talk about a little bit more about the trip. But
the fact that he is pretty. I mean, the fact is that he did this not once but twice in Arrowhead in the last 2 years. I think that's pretty damn impressive on its own. But we'll get into that when we discuss the trip. But all in all, it was a good overall game. I'm happy with the results, and it was better that we were there in person. So I think, from that perspective, before we get to talking about that trip, I just want to say to Adam, my condolences to you about Robbie Anderson, my guy.
Hey, you know what? It sucks, but I'd rather him go to McCaffrey. So,
right.
Well, if McCaffrey's traded, which we don't know yet, but it doesn't seem like he's going to get traded because everyone's looking at Carolina and be like, look, we know you're trying to observe your team, but 3 first-round picks for a guy who gets injured often. Nah,
I don't know. They didn't ask for.
Very true. Very true. But looking at the game itself, though, I mean, defensively, it was a pretty sound game on both sides. It was a pretty even game on both sides. Mahomes made some great plays, got sacked twice. Josh Allen got sacked twice, made some great plays, including that hurdle. But one of the big things that helped in the end, I mean, there's 2 things. First, Dawson Knox gets finally sees the end zone and gets his touchdown, which was great to see, and that was a perfect time for that. And then to seal the deal, Taron Johnson with that pick right on Mahomes, and that was the game right there.
Well, I just want to say, man, first of all, shout out to the rookie Kyrie Elam. Phenomenal season, phenomenal interception to definitely shut down the Chiefs to stop them, man. It was going back to back. It was a dog fight, but you already know Bills came out on top. But I mean, yeah, phenomenal play by Kyrie Elam. The secondary. I mean, DeMar Hamlin, he was kind of struggling, him and Neal, but I mean, without Hyde and Trey White, I mean, these guys are holding it down. So I can't praise these guys enough. But phenomenal game. Who was it? Acho from NFL Network. He broke it down with that Taron Johnson interception. Von Miller with the pressure. And you see my boy Matt Milano with another pressure falling up right behind him, got in his way, made him throw a sidearm, and that's when Taron Johnson dove right in front of him and took it away. I mean, we disguised, beautiful call by Leslie Frazier, disguising a man with a man coverage. So right when Dane Jackson broke off his man, passed it off to Ron Johnson, jumped right in front of it for an interception when Mahomes thought it was man on man and he had him beat.
Yeah.
And little do you know, Taron Johnson's right there to take it away.
Right. And right at that point, then all you had to do is just kill the clock, and that was it. So it worked out well. And then the other good thing it was nice to see is Benford ended up coming back. So, I mean, for him to get some playing time again, Elam, you already mentioned, I really like what he's been doing is the first 6 games in. I mean, he's really come out. And he made some good plays in that game on Sunday. And then on top of it, I mean, the one thing that I did notice though, and we were able to see this, is Butker ends up coming back, drills that 62-yarder. He just walks away like it's nothing, but then he blows the chip shot after that.
I kind of blew my top during that. Come on, guys, you didn't learn nothing from the playoff game. Now it's 12 seconds. 12 seconds left. Chiefs get the ball, field goal. 13 seconds last year. Chiefs get the ball, field goal. I mean, yeah, they came back in the second half. Phenomenal, great stop. Josh Allen right back at him with a touchdown with Diggs, but that was real tough to see that 12 seconds and they was able, even with the squib kick, 12 seconds they still was able to get the field goal. But I don't know. Hopefully they got that out the system and we can move on from that.
Yeah, and that was the one thing, Bobby, you were saying that brought back PTSD for you with the whole 12 seconds and 13 seconds.
I said that at the game, and I said with that 12 seconds, I said, this is reminding me of post-traumatic stress disorder with the 13 seconds thing from the playoffs. Yeah. And I saw that. I'm like, really? They're going to pull this shit again? And then, sure enough, it didn't feel like that in the second half because the Bills defense came in hard and they played their ass off, and I give them credit for it. But
oh,
Yeah, his internet's been all weird.
at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Right. And then even looking back at it, I mean, it puts us in great position now. And that was a game that we absolutely had to win, because now going into the bye, we're 5-1. We came out of the game healthy, which is good. Trey White's going to be coming back for the Packers, so that'll be good to see. Poyer should be healing up, which the fact that he still even showed up, he wasn't medically cleared to fly. I mean, the fact that he wasn't even cleared to fly, and yet he still takes a car 15 hours. I gotta give him credit, man. Gotta give him a ton of credit on that.
Amateur.
Mm-hmm. And then I also want to say,
Poyer's a dog, man. He's a dog.
yeah. And then on top of it, I mean, very solid game on both sides of the ball. I mean, yeah, there's stuff that could be fixed either way, but just the whole thing of watching Mahomes and Allen go at it in person was something to see. I mean, it was just a great experience overall. And what we wanted to do is with that, we wanted to take the last 20 minutes or so. We'll talk about the Arrowhead experience and some of the things with the trip. I will tell you, that is the loudest stadium I have ever been in.
By far. I mean, I almost felt like I was going deaf in the entire game. No joke. I'm not even exaggerating. I truly felt like that. Because believe it or not, Julian, we actually went on we're going to talk about it throughout the rest of the half of the show, but we actually went on a stadium tour around Arrowhead. So we have a test line for the tour. And the guy who was giving us the tour said, if you just shout out Chiefs, like as loud as you can hear the word Chiefs get echoed all around the stadium with no fans around. There's like 25 people alone, and they all said it at once because they were trying to prove a point with the whole loudest stadium in the NFL thing, because I think it's in the Guinness Book.
Yeah, it is in the Guinness Book of World Records. 142.2 decibels is like as loud as it ever got.
So they tried to prove it in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually one of the and the nice thing is we had Bills fans all in the row we were in. We were in section 307, and
in fact,
I mean, great seats where we got to see everything. We were kind of up in the corner, but on top of it, the other nice thing about it is there was a ton of Bills fans in that stadium, especially with the tailgate inside. All of that. And actually one of the people who was in front of us, I actually saw him. He had like a decibel meter on his Apple Watch, and it was hitting around 111, 112 for the decibel meter. So it was loud in there. I mean, you could actually feel the stands vibrating a little bit with how loud it was.
Yeah, and I'm actually holding the participant token for the tour. So just to kind of show, this is what we got. This is the 3:15 on the 15th, this is the day before the game. And then it gives us a map of where we were going. The only thing we were not allowed to go into was the locker room because it was the night before a game. So we were like, you know what? Let's understand.
Right. But yeah, let's definitely, we'll fill you in on what we saw.
You gotta just suck it. Cool. It would have been cool, but at the same time, business is business, and
yeah, for sure. And then, and
I want to ask you guys,
everybody's got to have the respect for privacy. And the same.
Oh, what's up?
He's coming in and out. I just want to say, besides the Bills,
the same day we went on the tour, we also went to.
Oh, hold on, Bobby. Hold on. You cut out. Hey, Julian, go ahead.
I was just saying, besides the Bills win, what was the highlight of the trip?
Well, let's get into it. So, we were there for 5 days, and Bobby actually has a little documentary up on his YouTube channel. So if anyone wants to follow it, that's at Buffalo Bob. But one of the highlights that we did, and this was the Saturday of the game, we did take a 2-hour tour of Arrowhead. So we ended up getting there. We met in the team store, and as part of that, we got to see all different areas of the stadium. So we got to see the Chiefs, basically their what am I trying to say here? Was it that Hall of Honor?
Yeah,
Okay.
the Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Honor or
Yeah,
the Hall
so
of Fame.
so we got to see that. And what I found out, my uncle, who's an architect based out of Nashville, actually designed some of the stuff in that Hall of Honor. I found that out after the fact. So we actually got to see that. Also part of the tour, we got to go up in the penthouse suite. We got to see Lamar Hunt's apartment, which it was shut, but we got to kind of see through the door. Got to go in some of the luxury boxes, some of the different clubs. We actually got to walk out on the field at Arrowhead, which was pretty cool. So we got to go through the tunnel and go up the stairs and all that fun stuff. In addition to that, we got to go in the press room, so where Coach Andy Reid has his speeches after every game. And that was cool. We both got to go up to the podium, so we got to spend some time up there. And then there were some other things we got to see in the stadium also, like some of the different suites, club areas, the store. He's got the pin showing the Mahomes versus Allen. And all together, I mean, it was a fun 2-hour experience that we got to be a part of. And well, of course, they give everybody a free Kansas City Chiefs hat.
This is the hat they gave away. They gave us 3, one for Tom, one for me, and one for Brittany. So that's
and there is no way I will ever wear it.
basically what it was. But I'm gonna keep this as a collector's.
Yeah.
You got to put on a skeleton or something because they're dead or something.
right.
Now, granted, I'm not gonna burn it because I mean it's a pretty nice hat overall, and it's nice of them to do that. But on top, I mean, it even has the price tag on it, $35 fucking for this hat, and they gave it to us for free. 3 of them.
I'm pretty sure you paid a lot of money for those.
Free hats and whatever. You know what I mean?
Pretty sure you paid a lot of money for the tour.
Yeah, it was about $65 a piece, so it was that. But it actually goes to a charitable foundation, so it's a good cause. You know, it's a good thing. But
so this is what we look like wearing these. So
yeah, but I will tell you though, seeing natural grass, I am gonna love the fact when they open that new stadium and they switch to grass. Have real football. so we had that, but let's talk about some other parts of the trip. So Thursday we flew into Kansas City. Thanks to our buddies at Alamo, they hooked us up with a great car, so we got a fully loaded luxury SUV for the week. So we ended up with that. We had a nice Ford Explorer, and it had everything. It had the nav, all that stuff on there, heated steering wheel, heated and cooled seats, which we needed because it was only 23 degrees at the airport the day we left. So that was fun, but it rode great. Our first stop, we had to drive through Kansas to go back into Missouri to go to our hotel. So we did the Cabela's stop in Kansas City, Kansas. Saw the Kansas Speedway out that way. We ended up going to barbecue for lunch right before we could check in. And we ate at a place called Smokehouse Barbecue out in Independence, which was good. And I'll tell you, man, they had some good smoked wings out there, got some ribs, burn ends, brisket, you name it, we ate it. Yep. And then we checked in. And then that Friday morning, we ended up leaving the hotel. We were on the road by about 4:35 o'clock in the morning going to St. Louis. And besides the St. Louis Zoo, we went to the Budweiser Brewery. We got to spend some time with the Clydesdales, and free beer is always a good thing.
Yeah, right.
They gave us 2 free beers as part of our tour, so we got to have some fun with the horses out there. Got to learn more about like what the Clydesdales do. The zoo was pretty cool. Got to go up in the Gateway Arch, and then Bobby basically was suffocating us to death with his farts in the car on the way back.
okay, first off, Tom, I'm gonna stop you right there. That was your idea. So
What, you letting it out? No.
well, what did you want me to do? Shit on your face?
No, you could have rolled down the window first at least. You did it
That's what I
after
did,
the
you
fact.
fucking idiot. I literally just opened the window. You're like, ew, can you at least open the window? And when I do it, you still bitch about it.
Well, 1, you were sitting next to me. 2, you did it after the fact. 3, and it was blowing back my direction.
Well, I'm sorry.
burning my
I took
eyes,
your
dude.
advice. I mean,
Yeah, blame the barbecue. Blame the barbecue.
well, actually, McDonald's, but close enough.
Well, yeah, that's why. But after that, then of course Saturday we did the stadium tour at Arrowhead. Sunday, we ended up watching the game, obviously, which we got to the stadium about 9:30 that morning. They had people tailgating at 6:30 a.m.
Yep.
So that was late. So we were at the stadium for about a good 12 hours when we got there. But I will say, a ton of Bills Mafia people tailgating, which was really awesome to see. And actually, when I flew down there on Southwest, I went through Chicago Midway. Like literally, both flights were totally full, and we had the Bills chant on both planes going in. And actually, the Southwest Airlines flight attendant was saying "Go Bills" on the intercom. I'm like, yeah.
Go Bills Mafia.
Yeah, and actually flew back with a lot of the same people I flew in with, so that was pretty cool. St. Louis Zoo was pretty cool to walk around. We did that for the first few hours that day, and it was about almost like a 2.5 mile loop around the zoo. So we spent a lot of time there. Bobby was getting in touch with nature, so.
Yeah, I literally put my dick in nature, and that's basically what happened.
Yeah, you and the elephants and the pit viper. But I will say though, the tailgating experience was a lot like here in Buffalo. I mean, and I got to give it to their fans. I mean, we took some shots at each other, but you know what? They're great. They're a great group of fans. They really are. They love their football just like we do. They tailgate just like we do. They love to drink their beer just like we do. And I mean, and they are actually a pretty cool crowd. And I mean, and plus it was nice too. We got to see some of the Bills fans like doing up wings and all that fun stuff. And we had a couple. Ourselves. I mean, we had a couple throwaway grills. We did some dogs, burgers, kibasas, and some other stuff. So it was a good time. We had our beer in the truck, so so that was good. And then Bobby got into about an hour long conversation with a Chiefs fan at the end.
No. You were in this too, so don't just put it on me.
I stayed out of it for the most part. It was you, dude. But no, he was actually a pretty cool guy, and I mean, he was definitely a hardcore Chiefs fan.
Sweet.
So, and I think his internet.
What's his name? Again. Carl that we met?
Yeah.
That was his name?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure his name is Carl.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, perfect. But you were like, who the fuck is this guy? Because he had like a whole like set. Like, I'll show you real quick. This was his hat. So he had a Chiefs hat on just like this. And he had pins all around his head. And he had dreadlocks on and shit. Not that it matters. But that's how we recognized him.
And the gold cap teeth.
And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to lecture you for an hour about basic shit in life. He's like, you know, it's about giving back into the community. I'm like, dude, we do it all the time. Don't give your money to athletes. They don't need it. Dude, you know, that's not going to stop over 100,000 people donating to one person for a good cause. That's just the nature of the beast with Bills fans. They'll donate to anybody. But this guy was like trying to lecture me about how we shouldn't do it because they get donated money anyway and they're rich as hell.
I mean, we don't donate directly to the players. We donate to their organization.
Like, why does it matter? We're just trying to do something nice for once.
Right. Even for Tua, like we donated to his charity. With Lamar Jackson, we donated to his charity.
Yeah. Andy Dalton, we did it to his charity.
Even with Josh Allen's grandmother and all of them.
The Patricia Allen Fund.
The PUNT. Yeah. So
I've given money to the Patricia Allen Fund before, and I had no problem doing like the 17 donations on that. I mean, it was all good. And even West Harris just chipped in like over $2 million or something to the Patricia Allen Fund. So they gave a lot of money away to that, which is a good fund. But
it helps a lot of people out.
Yeah, there were. I mean, there were a ton of Bills fans in the section we were in, and all throughout the stadium, there were a lot of fans there. I mean, I would have to estimate, and Bobby, you can kind of, you know, give your take on this too. I would estimate anywhere between about maybe 15 to 20,000 Bills fans there at least.
Maybe more than that.
So what would you say the percentage? Like what? 25, 75 Chiefs?
I guess I would say estimately at the game. Yeah, I would say approximately 30% of the people that were at the game were Bills fans.
Yeah, I mean, we travel well.
We do. And there's one thing that the Chiefs fans and Bills fans hate, and that's Raiders fans. That was like the one thing they're like, at least you're not them guys.
Well, actually, the whole Raider idea was my idea because we couldn't think of division rivals. So I said, how about the Raiders? At least we're not the Raiders. And it's like, you know what? Fair enough. We can't hate on Bills fans that much because you know what the problem is? Both guys, like both areas and both teams and both both fan bases are really, really nice people. Like Andy Reid's too docile. Sean McDermott's too nice. Josh Allen's too likable. And Patrick Mahomes is a good player. And the fans just don't want to kill each other. So that's what makes this rivalry a little bit more interesting.
Right. Well, yeah. And plus they know they're getting good football either way. So
yeah.
Without a doubt. And you know what? I have no regrets about this trip whatsoever.
Yep. And then of course
However, and I'm glad we went. I am actually glad we picked Kansas City over. Yeah, that's one thing I don't regret is picking Kansas City over Cincinnati. I don't regret that one bit.
Right. Yeah. Then Monday we actually went to the historic Arthur Bryant's barbecue, which is held, which has had at least 3 presidents, multiple celebrities, someone from Playboy originally who was in there, and I will tell you, I mean, you like smoked brisket, man. They slice it fresh right in front of you, and they pile that sandwich real super high, get a side of fries with it, and sauces are all at the table. And I will say, it was definitely one of those places that's no frills. It's like you better know what you want, and you move right down the line. And yeah, I got my shirt from there and all that too. But it was a good spot, and it was actually 4 blocks away from where the old stadium used to be, from what I found out. But that place has been open over 100, like since 1908 in its current location. So, I mean, they've been there about 114 years at this point, or a little more, give or take. But I will tell you, it's definitely old school as old school
it was a
can
good
be.
It was a good brisket joint. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good spot. And the funny thing is, for anyone who's gone to Kansas City, they don't do sweet sauce. They don't have like their traditional sauce. It's not a sweet sauce in that place. It's actually, I looked at it, it's more of a vinegar based, which was pretty interesting. And it has a lot of different spices to it, which was that. But they do have a sweet heat sauce, which I actually like the most out of it. And then they have like a rich like a spicy sauce with it, which was all good. And you know, we went to a lot of good places out there. I mean, our breakfast was at Black Bear Diner out in Independence, which was good. And the thing I ordered, I was like, oh my God, it came out on 2 plates. So it was all good, man. But just a lot of good experiences. We drove through the downtown KC over there, and you know, we just kind of laid low for the last day, and, you know, flights were all on time. They all did exactly what they needed to, and got to be surrounded by Bills fans heading home. So, you know, it was a good time. It really was. And it was a fun overall trip. Put about 1,000 miles on the car with the rental we had, but everything I think exceeded my expectations.
Nice. Beautiful. Glad you guys were able to enjoy the trip.
It was a fun overall trip. And then we're already discussing about going on a trip next year between LA or Philadelphia or any of the AFC North teams. We don't know who it is yet, but we'll find out in January. And then I found out in 2024, the Bills, who are, at least in my personal opinion, one of the places I want to go to as a trip is Seattle. And the Bills are scheduled to play the Seahawks there in 2024. So I definitely want to see that game when it comes around. So, I mean, it's not a guarantee we'll go, but we'll find out when that time is 2 years down the road. But that's what I know for sure. But next year, though, I know for a fact they're playing Philadelphia. They're playing Washington. They're playing KC again, which we're not going because we already went to Kansas City. LA is on there.
And is there net goes again?
And I think I said Philadelphia earlier. So
yeah.
I want to suggest that it's either Cincinnati or Baltimore, just based on where everything is going right now. That's what I think it's going to be. It might very well be, you know, Cincinnati.
Who knows? Who knows? But I'll tell you, man, Arrowhead is an experience, and that's, you know, glad we did it. And actually, I know, one of the very first job I ever worked for, my old boss was actually there. So I found that out afterwards too. He actually paid a lot of money to get like right down near the front row. So, I mean, he did that, but But if there's one thing that we all learned about it, Bill's Mafia travels well, and they travel everywhere. So we were a part of it, man. And then I was gonna say, you had a good show last night too. So tell us a little bit about what you got going on over on your side of the woods over at Mafia Talk.
Well, as we all know, we got the bye week coming up. So make room. We definitely want to get this Mafia moments going on. So anybody who's watching, please hit me up. Mafia Talk. I'm on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Julian J Mafia. Please shoot me a DM. And we could talk Bills, man. I like to dive in to Bills Mafia. What's your favorite game? How you became Bills Mafia? And we're just gonna talk this week, man. Phenomenal first half of the season, and we're only gonna get healthier. And I mean, the games should be easier coming up in the second half of the season. So I mean, I'm excited. Like I said, hopefully our guys stay healthy, and definitely gonna have a great rest of the season and have a great playoff march towards the Super Bowl, so we could start planning for that Super Bowl party, man.
Yeah. And actually, the next test is the Packers in 2 weeks. So, and Packers are not looking that great right now. So,
I think beat them, so they're talking about we got to get worried about the Jets now. So, I mean, I'm not worried until they start doing something. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to that game as well.
Yeah,
right.
Which is funny because I'm going to that game after the 2 weeks after the bye. Is my wife and I are going to the Bills Jets game in a couple of weeks. So that's worth checking out. But I will say before I forget, is I definitely want to advertise the documentary. It's called Long Island.
Yeah, he
Bills
checked
fans
out.
of Kansas City inside the Chiefs Kingdom. Yeah. So those who didn't hear me well because of my Wi-Fi, it's called Long Island Bills fans in Kansas City inside the Chiefs Kingdom. So check it out. The documentary is on YouTube. It's on my personal channel, but I'd like to upload it onto Buffalo After Dark channel and go from there. So if not, then I'll just leave it there and you guys can check it out for yourself. But it's a really good watch. It's just a bunch of clips I collected throughout the trip and put it into one movie with sound effects and special effects and stuff like that to make it more professional looking. But definitely check it out. We definitely went from the start of the trip to the end, where we got from beginning of LaGuardia, which is where it began, all the way to the end when we came home to LaGuardia. And the last shot is beautiful. I don't want to get anything away. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. So, so if you haven't watched it through, I highly recommend you watch it. I worked very hard on this project, so I wanted to make it more appealing. So,
absolutely, definitely give it a like, follow, and share.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
and please
what?
Please what?
Share it. You know, let everybody know what our experience from anybody else. Yeah, please share it. That would make my life. That would make my life better. That's a good documentary. It'll give everybody an inside scoop of basically what Tom, Brittany, and I did over the week when we were in Kansas City. So I think it's worth looking at. So if you decide to go to Kansas City next year, because they're playing again next year, from here on out, they're going to play probably every year. But if you're thinking about going in 2023, this would be a really good recommendation for a movie to check out, so you can kind of see what we're at. So definitely check out my documentary, Long Island Bills fans in Kansas City inside the Chiefs Kingdom. So available now on YouTube.
There you go. And of course, I mean, we didn't get to see everything there, but it gives a good overview of what you can do there. So, of course, everyone's individual results may vary. But with that being said, of course, Julian, we'll check you out on Mafia Talk. Good show last night. I know I actually got to watch part of it for a little bit, and then of course, keep following both of us. We're glad that you're all here. And with that, we're gonna wrap up for this week. So until next week, everybody, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you.
Go Bills.
Buffalo After Dark is an H&H Studio production and is produced in partnership with Horns & Hooves Entertainment.